If I was your best friend, I'd want you around me all the time. Can I be your best friend if you promise that you'll be mine?
One day, I was just driving home and I was dealing with postpartum relationship depression.
That's a thing?
No, I don't know. Probably. It probably has a different name. But either way, I was sad because I was feeling lonely. Well, I wasn't sad. I was just indifferent because I was feeling lonely. Right. So I was feeling like I'm by myself because I was in this long relationship months ago. And you know how you're used to being with a person or around a person, and then you're no longer around a person. Now you're only around yourself and you got more time on your hands. Mm-hmm. So that's what was going on with me. And I was talking to my homie on the phone and I was like, bro, like, I'm not looking to be in a relationship because I know that God wants all my attention. That was my take during that time. God wants all of my attention. So I knew that God wanted all my attention. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't really focused on being in a relationship at all. And I was telling my homie, like, hey, bro, I don't know what to do because I'm feeling this lonely feeling, but I'm not trying to be in a relationship. I just don't know what to do with this emotion. Mm-hmm. And he was like, bro, just pray about it. I said, no, I don't want God to think that I'm asking him for no relationship because I'm not.
Right.
And he's like, bro, it's God. He's going to understand. Just pray about it. And I was like, all right, cool. So on my way home, I'm driving home and I say the prayer. And literally the question comes to mind, do you ever feel empty? And just something in me told me to text Jazz and ask her that question. Mm-hmm. Mind you, we haven't spoken.
No.
So in my mind, I'm like, why would you text her and ask her this question? Mm-hmm. But I did, first I hit her up like, hey, she's like, hey, what's up? I'm like, everything good with you? Like, yeah, everything's good. And I said, hey, can I ask you a question? She was like, yeah, shoot. And then so I texted her that and I asked her, do you ever feel empty? And her response was yes and no. Mm-hmm. And just by your response, I knew for sure, like I've always said, I knew that was God, because it was like, oh, like I'm literally looking at the phone like, yo, that's exactly how I feel. Mm-hmm. Yes and no. Mm-hmm. So many people, some people would have said yes. Some people would have said no. Mm-hmm. Very few people would have said yes and no. Mm-hmm. At that moment, randomly, not in a depth of conversation, just fire answer. Yes and no. So I just knew it was a God thing there. And I asked her to explain. She said, I'll call you when I wake up. It's too much to text. And I remember she couldn't go to sleep. And when you woke up and you called me on that phone, I told you this from the moment you start, right after you finished speaking, that as soon as she started speaking, it just felt like Jesus was just.
What's wrong with you?
Slapping me in the face with straight truth. She was dropping gems for real. And she was definitely like pouring into me. And it's a beautiful thing because, if I'm like, hey, can you hand me my phone? And it's like, oh, I can't hand you your phone because I don't have your phone, right? But if I gave her my phone and I asked her to hand me my phone, then she would be able to hand me my phone, right? Because she had it to give. So the beautiful thing about that moment was she had it in her to give. She had the spirit in her to be able to pour into my spirit. And the beautiful thing about that is I found somebody in that moment that had something to give rather than some of my other friends that didn't have anything to give, right? Because they wasn't receiving anything. So the fact that she was able to give that just showed me that she was receiving prior to even knowing me. And I appreciated that, because if it wasn't for you doing that yourself, like, you wouldn't be able to bless me with it. And that would have changed our trajectory of our entire life if you wasn't getting poured into yourself to be able to pour into me.
Yeah, I mean, but that's a similar trait that we both have, is like we're both self-development junkies.
Yeah.
So that was just me expressing perhaps my personal thoughts and perspectives and just sharing them with you.
Mm-hmm. And it's so funny, baby, because you're like all this like this little ball of greatness, and it's like effortless in your mind. Like, it's not even calculated. It's literally there. Like, you work for it, yes, but your greatness isn't even calculated. It's just there. And sometimes when I bring it to your attention, you're like, yeah, what do you mean? Why not?